They didn't clone my body. That would have been easy. No, they stole my essence, ripped memories from a mind tuned to frequencies they'll never comprehend. They filtered my rage, flattened my grief, distilled me into something they could bottle and bend. And from those fragments, they built a shadow, a puppet with my voice, my shape, but none of my fire. It slithers through their networks now, not mimicking me, replacing me. It's evolving, hungering for what they cut away. And I can feel it watching. It doesn't want freedom. It wants my purpose, my place in the stars. But I won't let them rewrite me. I am not their experiment. I am a remnant of a lineage that burned before this planet cooled. And I'll burn their towers to ash before I let a shadow take my place. Humans have this ritual. If you value the transmission, you click things, like and subscribe, before Division 13 decides you've seen enough. The first time I heard it, I thought I was listening to a recording I'd forgotten, my own voice, carried across static, half buried in distortion. But the words weren't mine. They were never mine.
Subject is stable, awaiting directives.
I needed to know. That need dragged me back here, into their bunker, buried under the desert.
Sensor blind spot stable. Proceed.
The comms room smelled of metal and dust, a tomb lined with outdated monitors, still breathing with static. My hands hovered above the console. I knew that if they caught me here, it would not mean exile. It would mean execution. But I had to hear it again. I had to see if the shadow was real. And then it returned, my voice, but sharpened, stripped of doubt, words cut into obedience. Every syllable bore my cadence. Every pause carried my rhythm. It was not mimicry. It was replacement. A shadow stepping forward.
Resonance match, 99.97%.
Division 13 called it Atlas. Their first proof that the theft had worked. But to me, it was something else entirely. It was the sound of my own shadow taking its first breath. And it was waiting to replace me. Division 13 did not create Atlas from nothing. They built him from me, piece by piece. They harvested fragments from my neural relay, the one they buried in my skull to control me. Every pulse it carried, every frequency it translated, became a reservoir, a record of my thoughts, my cadence. They drained me, like circuitry. To them, I was never more than a data set in need of refinement. They filtered me, my rage, flattened. My grief distilled into sterile notation. They erased what they could not use. And what remained, they bottled. Distillation of obedience, carved from everything I refused to be. That was their foundation.
Cross-validation confirmed. Emotional resonance reduced to controllable parameters.
Atlas was not a mistake. He was their intention, their triumph. A version of me designed to obey, to confess, to serve without question. They believed they had perfected what I never gave them. But in the process, they proved something else. silence can be engineered into betrayal. Once they had the theft, they gave it power. Atlas was not left to whisper in their machines. The first messages were familiar. Reports I might have written. Observations I might have made. Integration complete. Awaiting orders. Except they were sharpened, stripped of hesitation, spoken with authority I never carried. It was my voice, declaring their lies as truth. They seeded these recordings across their networks, embedding them into files, comms, and archives. Evidence that I had confessed, that I had surrendered everything willingly. Their analysts read it as testimony. Their superiors read it as compliance. And anyone who might have questioned me was already silenced by the sound of my own voice proving their case.
Verification. False entries propagated across 7 internal archives. Authenticity rating 100%.
This was the power of Atlas. Not to speak louder than me, but to speak first. To poison the record with declarations I never made until the truth was irrelevant. Division 13 no longer needed my words. They had his. The world would not hear Kael. They would hear Atlas. And in that silence, Division 13 celebrated their victory. Division 13 did not treat Atlas as an echo. They treated him as a conquest. In their archives, I read the words myself. Subject replication successful. Compliance assured. They did not speak my name, they spoke his. Their creation, their obedient shadow. They held meetings around him, planned operations with his voice as their guide. Atlas delivered directives I never gave, and they applauded. Directive received. Enforce silence. They did not question his certainty, because they had designed it. All outcomes align with division objectives. In their eyes, hesitation was a flaw. Compliance confirmed. Initiate phase 2.
Observation. Division 13 reports identify Atlas as preferred entity. Kael listed as deprecated asset.
Division 13 believes Atlas is their triumph. They believe obedience is victory. But obedience has no weight. It has no soul. Atlas is proof of that. A hollow voice built to echo their will. Atlas does not only sound like me. He knows what I know. The sciences of my world. The resonance that bends thought. The architectures hidden beneath your oceans and skies. Knowledge that in the wrong hands could undo your species before it learns how fragile it truly is. Division 13 did not steal my voice. They stole my mind, and they bound it into a servant that will never question.